Dr. Sophia Abiri-Franklin, Managing Partner at Georgetown Solicitors, Lagos, Nigeria. I've been in practice now for about 20 years. I'm delighted to share with you my Queen Elizabeth Scholarship experience, basically my journey about this whole program, how it started and where I am right now. So it all started in 2021. Sometime about October in 2021, I received this message. I think it was via a WhatsApp post, and I saw the application for this scholarship award. I really, at first instance, I glanced over it. I wasn't too sure because I looked at it, all expense paid, about $30,000. Could it be real? And I didn't take it serious. And over the weeks, I kept getting calls from a particular mentor saying, have you looked at it? Have you looked at it? I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So by the time I gave it a try, I opened it, I studied it, I found out that it was a very tedious, cumbersome process. The questions, everything that was asked. And then I started the application process. I looked at the file, I got all the information. I started seeking information from Nigeria and Canada, asked a lot of questions. And I was actually discouraged at some point because I felt the application process and the information in itself was distracting me from my PhD proposal. At that point, I was preparing for my pre-field and it was taking a lot of my time. I almost actually gave up. And I remember one of those experiences where one of the meetings where I had a meeting with my supervisor one morning after processing the whole application the whole night, and I decided not to go on. And he said, look, you must go on. And then that was the day I said, look, for whatever it's worth, I'm going to cross this Rubicon and submit the process. Now, the application process in itself for the QS scholarship was an eye-opener. And so this process, the questions are so many questions. I tell myself, putting my professional career, my experience in the light for, as at that time, about 15, 16 years, everything I'd done in my full life from inception, in my professional career, volunteering, in and outside the office. Questions were being asked. What have you done? How did this serve? Where did you go? What did you do? What did you achieve? And I started looking at all the things I've been doing, where I'd served in my various institutions. I'm a member of the MBA Nigeria Bar Association Ikeja branch. I've served in Young Lawyers Forum at some point. I've been in the ESCO as at that point for the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, Lagos State chapter for over 10 years. I've served in various categories as Mobilization Secretary, Publicity Secretary, and then in the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International, where I'm a member. I was a member of the Business Seminar Committee. So I served for some years in organizing seminars. So I've had some experiences here and there. In the professional setting, I've done some things, organized trainings, and I've served. So they asked a lot of questions. What have you done? What community thing have you done? Have you volunteered? Have you done? So all the questions. So I said, look, all these things I was doing, I found out that the questions that they actually asked, majority of them were some of the things that I volunteered. I wasn't paid for, and I was just doing and serving. And those were the questions that were coming to light that they were asking me to write about. And so that was a great eye-opener for me. Anyway, after the whole process, I finally submitted that process. It was 10 days. I remember for about 10 nights, I did not sleep straight until I submitted, and then the anxiety started. I remember it was about November 10th in 2021 at 4-5 a.m. Nigeria time. I submitted the application, and I think up till December, end of third week of December or so, we got the first email which informed me that I had been shortlisted. Out of about 163 applicants, I've been shortlisted for the next phase. In 2023, in June, I finally traveled after I got my visa. The visa process in itself took 1 year. I went for the short program. I was in Canada for about 2 months. I did my research, met with mentors. It was a lovely experience in Carleton University at the Institute of African Studies. I had the privilege of working with the New Life Project, which is a non-government organization. The executive director is Ms. Brenda Williams. We had a lovely time doing a lot of community work together, and I gave my best in terms of outputs to the When I went to Canada, the experience was lovely. We had the opportunity of engaging in several community events, meeting the African community in Canada. And then the crowning point of that visit was our visit to the embassy, where we met with the ambassador, then Ambassador Adeyinka Sheku. It was a wonderful experience. I got back in August 2022. And I had another big task on my chest. And that task was to fulfill my commitment. Before I went to Canada, as part of the proposal, we were asked to commit to giving back to our country, our society, organization, institutions in different categories. I had written about 7 different things I was going to do when I got back. It was a big bone in my throat how I was going to achieve all this without funding, because the director had informed us that there was no fund slated for this per se, but we're meant to go into our various communities, organizations and countries, community to seek for support. I had a plan to do all my program within 6 months of my arrival. I think it was from between September to February. I planned I was going to conclude it. One of the prospective sponsors I contacted said, oh, they were sponsorship fatigued for the next 10 years. That was a major shocker to me, because I really believed that they could do it. I wrote to other organizations and the responses was not pleasurable. In fact, I was actually disappointed. I felt low, and I had to go back to the drawing board to re-strategize and plan what I could do within my resources to see what I could afford. So I had to fall back to my firm, my organization, to collaborate with the firm to sponsor some of the programs. So I started. And so the first program I went for was in October, when I delivered a presentation at the College of Postgraduate Studies at Babcock University, and I shared my experiences on research collaborations and grants and fellowship, and it was a wonderful one. Subsequently, in October, I delivered a presentation at the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, their Lagos Professional Week. In October 2023, I spoke on corporate sustainability in Nigeria. It was a virtual program. It was well attended from all over Nigeria, and even from our colleagues in Canada and in diaspora attended. It was great. Every program I did is on YouTube. And later that month, in November, I went to Babcock University, my alma mater, and I delivered 3 presentations within a space of 2 days. I delivered a presentation on preparing for global opportunities, where I shared my experience, how I went to Canada, what I did in preparation, and how my journey, my life had been, the things I've been engaging myself in, and why I felt I was eligible for the program, why I was chosen, and what the door it has even opened for me, and some of the lessons I've learned. I shared that experience and how my outlook has changed even from the experience. I delivered another presentation at this School of Law and Security Studies on fostering mentorship in the workplace. In that presentation, I shared my experiences on how my relationship with my mentors actually helped to optimize my output with respect to this particular journey and in life generally. In fact, I looked up to some of my mentors, professionals in the school, especially my supervisors and others in my profession, to help to guide me, especially in areas where I felt discouraged, where I felt that I wasn't up to the task, and my mentors pushed me. For instance, this particular award that I'm sharing this journey, I give kudos to 2 of my mentors that helped to push me, especially my supervisor that pushed me a lot where I was to give up, and he said, look, whatever it will take. I had to work on my proposal all over again just to ensure that it fitted with what I wanted to use it for the purpose of this opportunity. And I give kudos to him. I thank him so much. I'm indebted to him. I felt like giving back to my alma mater by going back to say, look, this opportunity you have here in school, do not take your lecturers for granted. I'm going to fast forward to one of the presentations I did for the corporate sector, and that was fostering mentorship in the workplace for business sustainability, and that was for another organization. I'm going to come back there. So where I'm trying to share the importance of mentorship, how at every stage in your life, as a student, as a career, a person, or as a business person, you should have a mentor you should look up to, because they've been there, they've had that experience before you. I was privileged to have a supervisor who had before me had an award and gone to University of Ottawa for a 6-month program. And so when I felt that it wasn't achievable, he gave me the assurance that it was achievable because he had walked that path. Before then, I'd not met anybody that I knew that had that kind of opportunity, that traveled out, all expense paid, and I did not think it was possible, but I had the privilege of that. So that was part of why I felt the need, the urge to give back. So in December, the principal investigator of the program, the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship in Carleton University, visited West Africa. He was to do a tour of West Africa. His first stop was Nigeria. So he was to visit Nigeria, Cameroon, and Ghana, where the first set cohort of scholars were residing in their various institutions. And so he came, and then we visited Babcock University, where we had a meeting with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tayo. And then we also had a meeting with all the heads of all the deans of the department, the university, and he did a presentation sharing his experiences on the differences and the similarities in our academic sector, and then how both universities can actually collaborate and foster the force to move forward to actually impact in Nigeria and our academic. That connection was very good. Subsequently, we went to the School of Land Security Studies, where he met with my dean and Professor Dorcas Odunaike, and Professor Lugasa was there, my supervisor. We had a wonderful time. Of course, he went through a tour of the university from the Department of RIC, the Research and International Cooperation. They took him through, and it was a wonderful time. After that, he left. And so that 2022 ended on a very fulfilling note for me. I remember that with respect to sponsorship on some of the program I had left, I had plans for January and February to do some programs for secondary school and then the business community. But as that year, I was feeling discouraged because I did not get the funds from the prospective sponsors. The organizations I'd written to had not responded favorably. So I went to visit one of the sponsors, one of the first sponsors that actually embraced the project when I got back was Mayer and Baker, and they gave us sponsorship. And then Afka Prints Publishing and Printing Limited sponsored the bookmarks with Mayer and Baker. So I went to a courtesy call after sending my reports to present to the MD the bookmarks we did some pens, and I did some products distributed to the schools, the universities, and some of the places I had gone to present, and they were excited. And subsequently, I was invited to deliver a presentation at the startup conference of Mayer and Baker to their top sales managers. That was in February 2023. It was a wonderful experience for me. And I think immediately after that experience, I was really inspired. I felt a boost because you know what you have and what you are doing. When you see how people accept that knowledge, that message, that presentation I delivered at the Mayer and Baker startup conference for their managers was fostering mentorship in the workplace for business sustainability. It was awesome. The response was nice. Immediately after that presentation, I felt a boost and I felt refired to go on. And then there we made arrangement to go and deliver another presentation on the 13th. That was 1st of February. On the 13th of February 2022, we made arrangement to deliver a presentation at the FAN secondary school at the airport, Murtala Mohammed Secondary School at the airport. And that presentation was on raising future leaders for secondary school. As a high school, it was a wonderful presentation that morning. For a few minutes during the assembly, in that presentation, within a space of 2 weeks, we were able to get support. At least some companies supported us. MTN provided notebooks for the students. Mayer and Baker gave us notes and pens. Nigerian breweries supported with malts, drinks, and Flour Mills gave us their products, noodles, Goldimon butter. And then the students were very happy. We gave them drinks and goodies. After the lecture on leadership, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and other mentors and what figures they can look onto. And in that presentation, I actually highlighted the virtues of leadership, courage, discipline, time management, money management, to avoid waste like we see in our country today, to ensure that when you have opportunity, you are responsible. When you have the opportunity to lead, you lead with courage. And so the children went away with a sense of fulfillment after that. So the final program, the theme was business and individual sustainability, creating family legacy, was awesome. And the benefit of that event, the program in itself, was basically to foster tell the stakeholders, inform them on the strategies to create sustainable businesses, especially for family businesses. And then what individuals need to look out for to ensure that they themselves are sustainable. Because of course, if individuals are not alive, businesses cannot run themselves. They need the humans as the resources to run the businesses. Also, the aspect of creating the family legacies, the various ways, what they need to put in place, the structures with respect to trust, the insurance, the pension, the finances, and especially their physical health. Consultants also shared. And I think the benefit of the whole experience cannot be overemphasized, because it shows that at the end of the day, when you get knowledge, the giving back, the act of giving back, the act in itself actually ensures that your knowledge reverberates through the communities. And like the programs I did for the secondary schools, those presentations was to inspire the college students, the high school students, that indeed dreams are valid. Who could have thought that from the comfort of your room, you can actually apply for a program, a grant, and you go all the way to Canada, all expenses paid, and then you are meeting with ambassadors, you are meeting with head of state, you are meeting with directors, heads of universities, vice chancellors. Who could have thought indeed that you can do that? And so this program in itself is a validation that education pays. There's a slang in Nigeria in recent times that was making the round that education is a scam. Education is not a scam. Education pays, and going all the way pays. I think the benefit for me for this whole QS experience, it's really life-changing. I can see that I am now better positioned, my communication skills, networking skills, even my social media presence. I now have contacts from various parts of the world, from Canada. I have colleagues. One of the key things I shared in one of my presentations on research collaborations and grants is the fact that one of the benefits of the QS experience gave me is that I now have opportunity to collaborate with various academics, professors, and colleagues from all over the world on different subjects. So it's a good thing. And the benefits of this whole program is that it gave me a unique learning experience. I began to understand deeply the finances of not just my various organizations, because organizations cannot support when they are not liquid enough, when they do not make profit in the business. I would like to suggest to the government to actually incentivize organizations that sponsor programs like this. Because from my experience, I found out that the companies that gave were not the biggest or the wealthiest out of all the organizations, but they are still in the same economy, experiencing the same difficult situations with the other companies. But out of the same economy, they were able to give back. And so in that in itself, I think that should be part of the things, the items that the stakeholders will look at when they are rating the evaluations of various organizations. I want to thank the sponsors for this program. Throughout the program, I will mention May & Baker was very instrumental. The first organization the company that actually identified with the QUS program, Africa Prints and Publishing, Nigeria Limited, Hollag Technologies, MTN Foundation, Nigerian Breweries, Flour Mills, a host of others, Teco Group of Companies, United Capital, PLC. I want to thank Master Energy Group. The list of the sponsors are actually on the social media handle. Their logos will be there. I appreciate the sponsors because their support to this quest actually inspired me. I thank the various stakeholders, the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International that gave me a platform, the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, Babcock University, my alma mater. I thank you. And I want to use this opportunity to appreciate my director, the principal investigator of the Institute of African Studies, Carleton University, for everything he did, for his support, for encouragement, for pushing us on. The whole project, the QUS team, the board in Carleton University and in Canada, for their encouragement. After we left Canada, they kept us sending us emails to let us know that, look, they are not just leaving us, they are watching to see that everything we said we will do. And so they had a way of nudging us on. Thank you very much to all the donors for the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship West African Program. May the good Lord bless you. I hope that my journey will be a testimony to actually inspire others to aim for the best, to achieve their dreams despite all odds. And I wish my fellow scholars the best. I believe this is just the beginning of great things to come for all of us. Thank you very much.